Hello everyone, today we're going to have a video, basically a guide for a Suzerain Reformist Constitution plan. So this video is going to try to help you pass a Reformist Constitution if you're doing a Reformist run in Suzerain. We're going to first be going over what your Constitution is going to have and then the steps to try and pass it. So the kind of layout of this Constitution is it's obviously going to be a reformist sided, but it also doesn't go too far, and this constitution is basically as much as you can go reformist without it being too hard to pass. So it kind of it follows the red lines of the reformists, but it also won't anger the USP conservatives too much, and it will get the USP moderates and reformers on your side as well. So it's a nice constitutional plan that you'll easily be able to pass in your reformist run if you just follow these steps. And then we also have the layout and then the steps to pass it, and we'll get right into it. But before that, I just need to make sure that I give my props to this website, Neoseeker, this Suzerain Constitutional Reform guide, which my plan is heavily based on. It takes direct quotes from this article, but basically what I did is I edited it slightly, added some of my game knowledge, and cut down the article just to include the reformist parts of it. So yeah, credit to that website, and we're going to go over the plans now. So as we said, this is for reformist run, siding with democracy. Basically, to go for a reformist constitution, there's two red lines. They want to limit presidential vetoes, and they want to remove the Supreme Court's vote on constitutional changes, which is the stuff in blue I have right here. So, yes, we'll start with the vetoes. As I said, they want to remove presidential vetoes, and they don't want like loopholes or anything around it. And it's one of the red lines. So if you want to be a reformist constitution, you need to have this. So to kind of bargain with the conservatives, you can go with a 3/5 override, and it will also give you more power at the end of the game to pass certain decrees, or I mean not to veto certain bills, and it can save you some economy points. And yeah, so 3/5 is a good compromise. So it gives you power to veto some stuff, but also it fits with the reformist red line. Next is the Supreme Court vote. This is also mandatory for reformist constitutions. So yeah, you pretty much just have to remove the vote. President impeachment. So this, you want to give the Assembly and the Supreme Court a vote to impeach. You'll need both to impeach them. So this doesn't anger anyone, as it still gives the Supreme Court their vote, but it also gives the Assembly access to vote. So this is something that's not really controversial, and it's a good reform. The cabinet minister selection. So this doesn't actually matter to gameplay, as your term ends after the first end, but everyone likes the option of a confidence vote. It appeals to reformists. Conservatives don't get too mad. The USP likes it as well, so it's something that everyone likes. For the electoral threshold, the reformists really like the 8% threshold. Now, the conservatives get annoyed by this, so if you want to go even safer than what I have it, you can make it 10%. But as I noted down here, Gloria Tory will accept the 8% as long as you don't go for Souls immunity or membership honor, and that's not something that we're going to be doing this constitution. So if you want to do a gameplay or a game where you do go for Souls membership or immunity, this constitution won't work, and you might have to go for either a 10% threshold and then go for Soul, or try something else. But this is a much easier to pass if you don't go for Souls membership honor or immunity, and you can get that 8% threshold, which the reformists like. It's more reformist constitution overall, and it can pass with the conservatives. But if you want to be safer, you can go with that 10%. So for the decree power, the reformists definitely want to limit your decrees, so you can just settle with an enabling act. Yeah, you'll still be able to do some weak decrees later on in the game, but reformists like it, and it's pretty easy to pass. So for justice immunity, changing this is pretty controversial, even with Nia, who's an ally of you. So just don't change it. There's not much point to change it unless you want to go for Orso Hawker and take down the old guard, but it's a lot easier to pass the Reformist Constitution without doing this. Term limits, also, this doesn't matter to the game as it ends after the first term, but 2 term limits, people are fine with it, Reformists like it. Next is the membership honor. As I said, we're not changing this because trying to abolish it, it just riles up all the Solists, riles up the conservative USP members, so it's just better not to go for it. But overall, you get the Reformist things of removing vetoes, removing Supreme Court vote, changing the electoral threshold, and term limits, all that good stuff. So this is a constitutional plan that will be pretty easy to pass, but also still has a good amount of reformist changes. Next, we're going to go to kind of the steps to pass this constitution. A lot of this you'll already have by going with the constitutional layout I had. But when you want to convince Gloria Tory and the conservatives, you want to make sure you have the confidence vote, which we have in the Constitution. She'll like that. When it comes to Monica's speech, this is kind of a point of like diplomacy, or you can kind of use Monica's speech as a bargaining chip if she doesn't want to pass it. She'll want you not to allow Monica's speech at the Benfey Festival, but you can still support her if she lashes out, and support women's rights if you want to do that. So for privatization, make sure you don't privatize healthcare. That's kind of a red line for her, and it would be extremely hard to pass the Constitution. So don't privatize healthcare, which you probably won't be doing anyway if you're a reformist. Kind of depends, but that's a red line. So for Calvin and the USP reformists, he's pretty much already going to go with you if you just use the Constitution above. So you're pretty good on that. But if you want to do it further, if you sign the Workers' Rights Act, he'll also help support it. For the PFJP, they're also pretty much just good. As long as you include all these things, which I have in the layout above for the Constitution, he'll be good. If you want to use further efforts, you can highlight that the reformist agenda will be willing to give the PFJ credit, and this will make him less reluctant, or he'll even be more happy to sign the Constitution or vote for it. For the independents, the electoral threshold at 8% will help get these votes, so it's a nice 10 vote boost. But you don't need these votes, it's just helpful. Another way you could do it is by proposing to eliminate Seoul's special status, which we're not doing in this tutorial, but it's something to keep in mind. Lobbying, more money you spend, more support you'll get. Another thing to keep in mind, if you're popular with the people, you keep the popularity points up, then it'll also be easier to pass. So through the Supreme Court, you need to meet with the centrists. Basically what you need to emphasize is judicial review, transparency, and balance to reforms. If you emphasize these things while you're talking to them, it'll be good. For the other justice, he'll probably pass it, but you might need to offer him a Chief Justice position, and then he'll go with it. So that's kind of the bargaining you have to do there. Another thing to add on is when you're giving your speech to the party, the USP, of advocating for this constitutional reform, the thing that you want to emphasize there when you're giving your speech is unity of the party, furthering the USP, making sure you don't say anything bad against Seoul, and then that's pretty much when you're good. You don't want to talk too much about vast changes or stuff like that. You want to focus on the party, unity, and just don't make fun of Seoul, and you'll be good with the speech there. And that's kind of to pander to moderates of the party, kind of to pander to the conservatives a little bit, and then keep the reformists on it. So, yeah. To summarize, just use this constitutional plan. You can change a few things if you want. You can make them easier to pass or harder to pass. But this will be a pretty easy one to pass for reformist runs. And then for passing it, you're already pretty good with the USP reformists and the PFJP. Just try to convince Gloria Tory with these methods right here. And then lobby, keep public opinion up, and you should be good. So, yeah, as I like to say before, a lot of this is heavily influenced by this article. I just cut it down, made it easier making this video, so it's, you know what to do as a reformist run. But yeah, other ways I've gotten this is just like gameplay, what I know about the game, speaking from experience, and then some Reddit forums. But that's the guide. So if I got anything wrong, make sure to leave it in the comments below. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully you can pass the Constitution, and thanks for watching.